A revolution is underway in Pakistan's healthcare sector, one that is about to dramatically change not just the sector, but its relative size in the economy. How and how much do Pakistanis use the country's healthcare system and who pays for it are all about to change. And it is not one, but two simultaneous revolutions taking place in the country's healthcare sector. The first is driven by the government's Sehat Insaf program, which provides for health insurance paid for by the government, but serviced by private insurance companies to a large swath of the country's low-income population. The second is the advent of online pharmacies such as dawaai, which are seeking to remove the inefficiencies and encumbrances of the retail supply chain for pharmaceutical products in Pakistan. Both of these are likely to result in more equitable access and a more affordable, better quality of healthcare available to a much larger proportion of the population. Farooq Tirmizi and Ariba Shahid look at who will be the winners and losers of this revolution. The Sehat Insaf Program. The Sehat Insaf Program is one of the biggest policy successes of the PTI government. First launched in 2013 in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the plan is now being extended across the country. It provides health insurance plans for low-income Pakistanis. In a private sector health insurance plan, the monthly premiums are paid for by either the individual seeking insurance or perhaps by their employer as a benefit offered for employment. In the Sehat Insaf program, the premiums are paid for by the government so that the person with low income can afford access to the same health insurance that people with well-paying middle-class jobs have access to. The Sehat Insaf program will cover up 600,000 rupees per year per family for high-cost hospital procedures and up to rupees 120,000 per family per year for other types of hospital-based healthcare coverage. This may not seem like much, especially for more expensive procedures, but they are a lot more money than what most low-income people currently have access to. With this card, the laborer working on building a skyscraper has access to the same hospitals and a similar level of service as the mid-level banker walking into that building to work. While this program has not yet spread nationwide, it already covers an estimated 7 million families, according to the Federal Health Ministry, or about 21% of all households in Pakistan. But it is important to increase these coverage and the government must play its role. Currently, the federal and provincial government's combined spending on healthcare accounted for about 35.7% of the total spending on healthcare in Pakistan in the fiscal year 2019. When it comes to healthcare spending, most Pakistanis know that they are on their own with not much assistance coming from the government. While most of this goes to the poor, it is only because anyone that can afford it chooses private healthcare, meaning there is a great disparity in the quality of healthcare. Through the Sehat Insaf program, the government will provide healthcare insurance to the bottom 21%. In one fell swoop, this will increase the quality of healthcare received by these people and relieve the traffic in government hospitals. And this is good for the healthcare sector at large as well. Essentially, it means a 21% increase in customers. Online pharmacies. This is the second revolution happening in tandem with the first. Pharmaceutical drugs account for approximately 62% of the total healthcare spending. If one had to go about tackling a major challenge in the healthcare sector, it would by definition involve pharmaceuticals. And given the government's tight regulations of pharmaceutical prices, the way to squeeze efficiencies out of the system would be, as with just about any retail-facing industry in Pakistan, would be to attack the supply chain. That is the theory behind the rise of online pharmacies like dawaai, the venture-backed company founded by former derivatives trader Furqan Kidwai in 2014. dawaai is seeking to disrupt the Pakistani pharmaceutical industry, estimated to be worth Rs 477 billion. The structural problem in Pakistan is that the government sets both the retail price as well as the retailer's margins, which effectively means that gross profit margins for the entire industry are set by regulatory fiat. The manufacturer is able to receive a price between 20 and 25% below the retail price, which means that the entire supply chain operates on margins contained in that 25% margin. Of that 20 to 25% margin, an almost fixed 15% is taken up by the retail sector, with distributors and wholesalers splitting the remaining 5 to 10%. About 1 to 3% of that goes to wholesalers, and the rest is taken up by distributors. Wholesalers, according to some, are the source of much of the industry's problems. The margin is just not enough, and it is the wholesale stage of the supply chain where counterfeiters are entering the market. If dawaai was able to gain enough volumes to become big enough to deal directly with manufacturers and distributors and then sell the product directly to consumers, it would be able to cut out the retailers and wholesalers in the supply chain, creating a 15 to 18% gross margin for itself to begin with, and one that could grow as it continued to disintermediate even the distributors. How does this matter to consumers? If dawaai is able to cut out 2 to 3 layers of middlemen, it can offer more competitive prices to consumers while at the same time guaranteeing quality in a way that most retailers cannot. In order to become successful, however, dawaai will have to ensure that it invests in developing a better infrastructure than its competitors, a strategic imperative that might be in conflict with the company's current asset-type business model, which involves rented facilities rather than wholly owned ones.